Good afternoon. It is 2:30 on Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. And this meeting of the Sandpoint Parks and Recreation Commission is now called to order. For the record, I am Chairman Taylor Long, presiding in the City Council chambers at City Hall, 1123 West Lake Street in Sandpoint, Idaho. Commissioners present at this time are Dan, Lori, Jessica, and myself. Next, we will proceed with the general public comment portion of the meeting. General comment time provides an opportunity for members of the public in attendance to address the commission regarding items included on today's agenda, either new or old business. For purposes of a general public forum, you are also welcome to comment on any topic pertinent to the business of the city of Sandpoint, not included on the agenda and not anticipated or scheduled for future public hearing. I'd like to make everyone aware that the city does have a policy on public meeting decorum. The rules are posted just outside the chamber's entry doors. In summary, I would ask that everyone please be pleasant and respectful, not make derogatory statements about others, including city staff, not be disorderly or disruptive, no calling out, clapping, or holding up signs. Public comment time is for comments only, no questions or debate. You are welcome to contact the Community Planning and Development Director, Jason Welker, during regular business hours if you have any questions or concerns. This is the only general public comment time that will be offered during this meeting. Those attending remotely who wish to speak may raise a hand on Zoom at this time. When called upon by the board chair, and it is your turn to speak, please state your name and whether you reside in Sandpoint city limits. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes.
My name is Jackie Hanna, and I live in Sandpoint. I'm just here again to plead my case with the HVAC system. And I know it's not on the agenda this month, it's going to be on in January. But I just wanted to give some background about myself. I lived in Sagal for 45 years on 10 acres. My husband and I decided in 2000, we're retired school teachers, we decided to move to Sandpoint, and we looked at a lot of houses, and we actually ran into the house that is really close to the HVAC system, which backs up to the park. And it was kind of perfect down here living on 10 acres because it's so quiet. So I am back to plead the case that something needs to be done about the HVAC system. It's running a lot, almost all the time. Like this morning when I went out at 5:30, I could hear it. So it means I can't work in my yard without hearing the HVAC system. And I'm hoping, and I guess asking that Sandpoint be a good neighbor. Like we're being a good neighbor. I pick up poop at the park, I pick up trash. I monitor the park. I would like to think that Sandpoint will also consider people like myself that bought a house for the HVAC system. Thank you.
If
That's for anybody who wants to look at pictures. My name is Bill Strand, and my wife and I live at 1917 Aspen Court, closest to the Russell Sports Center and the batting cages. We moved there in 2020 after living in Dover, where I served for 2 terms as president of the Dover City Council, and also as the chairman of the Dover Urban Renewal. I hold a bachelor, a master's, and a PhD in engineering. Talk about noise. Sandpoint noise ordinance defines noise disturbance, any noise or vibration that may deter or annoy reasonable persons of sensitivities. Now, the past few years, we've seen increasing reports nationwide about the noise generated by pickleball courts. Pop, pop, pop. The racket impacts could reach up to 75 decibels. Boise is just one city that has recently closed down some of the pickleball in the resident lawsuits. But I'm actually here to talk about batting cages, because the distinct ping of an aluminum bat produces sound that is 15 times louder. Pop, pop, pop. Research performed at Purdue University found that striking a baseball off a tee with an aluminum bat an impact sound of up to 106 decibels. In a study that was published in Scientific World Journal, Researchers reported that striking a softball that it had been pitched rather than being placed on a tee higher impact sound, with aluminum bats producing impacts up to 124 decibels. To test this, being an engineer, thought it was to test things, called an aluminum bat, placed a tee on the location of the proposed batting cages, placed a sound measurement device on our back fence, and then hit away. Now, your average 10-year-old is going to hit it. 30 years ago, I was diagnosed with MS. Heart surgery 7 months ago, and I just had my foot rebuilt. Even I can exceed 75 decibels hitting a ball off a tee with an aluminum bat. Sometimes I could get up to 90 decibels. And then if you put in an automated pitching machine, which has been discussed in the future, that would result in even higher noise. To make matters worse, since the Russell Center was constructed, additional trees surrounding the batting cages were removed. This reduces the sound dampening effects offered by soft surfaces such as trees. And the picture there are some of the trees that have been removed. The three long going up to down main points. For those reasons, I encourage the city of Sandpoint to reconsider its decision to place the batting cages where it may require extensive modification or later expensive relocation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
I hand out to Sharon Scan. As we live adjacent to Trader Towers. And I brought up the importance of the master plan and the comprehensive plan and the using plan, and just a little background of how that was important to me in my professional work as a university professor and then also in healthcare. Everything you do is driven by the plan. You have to have the plan, what's your strategic mission, what's the vision. And if I wanted to teach a component, I had to show how that component was related to something we were trying to achieve. So whenever I go into a new place, the first thing I want to get is the plan. It's a place about and what are you doing? So that's how I get focused on plan. And so I've written this to the commissioners. I went through and did an analysis of the park recreation plan. A lot of it's pertinent to the planning efforts. And by leveraging the master plan, we can bridge the gap between the interests of the staff, elected officials, and those of the residents of Sandpoint, because the residents provided input into that master plan. Notably, the document does not mention need or desire for batting cages. There were several recurring themes in the Parks and Recreation Plan. Many of the themes were addressed by the building, the JER building. They were able to check off a lot of the things that needed to be accomplished. Building and activities, the playground, and the expanded skate. However, one significant thing that remains unaddressed is the need to enhance services for teens, adults, and seniors. The master plan explicitly identifies that these age groups are underserved Parks and Rec department. The Parks and Rec plan also includes a list of activity suggestions to meet those needs. Several of these activities could conveniently be located on the pad where the expanded batting cage was proposed. These activities include community gardens, team play and gathering area, volleyball court, healthy lifestyle activities, climbing wall, covered pavilions, and mini golf. Some of the healthy lifestyle activities often involve outdoor exercise areas that cater to teens, adults, and seniors who aren't involved in team sport. There are lots of examples. I just picked out one example. It's called the fitness court. And then I copied the verbiage from what the fitness court is. And you are familiar with these, I'm sure. They provide a comprehensive full body workout, feature zones for core, squat, push, lunge, pull, agility, and bend. And that's like a circuit training workout that's outdoors in a park. And they give you the website in case you're interested. In summary, it's crucial to adhere to the Parks and Recreation Master Plan when planning, as it reflects the residents of Sandpoint's priorities. As per the city comprehensive plan, it's equally important to preserve established neighborhoods by establishing a buffer zone between park structure, park activities, and residential areas. Thanks.
Thank you, Sharon. Any other public comment? Doesn't look like we have anybody online that I can see. Yes, please.
Weiler. Parks maintenance workers, yeah, everybody else in the loop, we installed new bike racks, drivers. See that they're in, and I know that we did those, feedback. And then my first meeting here, talked about more signs, it's Great Northern Centennial. Also, now. In everybody's in the loop.
What arrived yesterday?
Oh, and the picnic tables, those are in the new shade structure. Within the next week or so will be the shade structure. Paper.
Awesome. So the picnic tables are all.
Picnic tables arrived yesterday,
Yes.
along with 40 park benches, 3 backless, 1 with a back. That one was a donated
Yep.
bench from a local family.
And 2 donated signs.
So arrived too?
Yep.
Okay, we got to install those. So we also have the new Rotary logos that are going to go up to either end of the picnic shelter. So a lot of cool stuff arrived from the Kalispell Meadowworks yesterday. It's obviously very wet over there with 4 days of rain. The concrete for the shade structure, shade awning at the skate park was poured about 3 weeks ago, and that's going to need some more time to cure. But when that's ready, the team, Austin asked me to print out the plans for the shade structure today, so they're going to install that probably in the next, probably early next month, I would guess.
I'm hoping this.
Yeah, it's not, no big
Next week,
rush,
but if
because we're not gonna put the actual, material up till spring, since it's
just the posts.
yeah, it's rated for 90-degree winds and a lot of snow load, but there's not a lot of benefit of having a shade structure up in the winter, so we'll install the actual, material awning in the spring, I
Do
believe.
you anticipate that coming down each season, like they do
The,
out by
the material, yes,
Yeah,
the
the
posts we won't bother taking.
Oh, yeah, yeah, not.
Yeah.
posts, but I mean-
We could, I mean, it's literally held in with each post is held in with 6 heavy-duty bolts. But just the labor and the machinery would take it weighs over 2,000 pounds, just the post, so.
Yeah, sure.
But
No,
the
I-
material will down,
Yeah.
Well,
I think they
we
do
might
that.
evaluate that. I mean, there's some benefit to having rain shelter in the winter as well.
True.
Kids are out there in pretty much every weather condition. So we might leave it up and see, just make a decision based on what we witness in terms of, weather and the effect that weather has over the season
Yeah.
next year.
And those
But-
probably have a natural pitch on it.
Yeah, they're pitched at, I don't know, 15 degrees or something. So they shed, water away from the skate park,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they take the fairground ones down, don't they, seasonally?
above the playground there.
Yeah,
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I think they do.
Actually do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Just to
curious about that.
preserve the life of them as well. Yeah. But the new picnic tables and benches are really nice. We opted for, you recall, there were 2 powder coating options. We opted for the higher end one, which is kind of a textured powder coating, almost has like a rubberized feel to it. It's not glossy, it's more matte. Look really good. So looking forward to getting people in that new shade structure. Big shelter, yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Cole. Appreciate it.
And Colton will be starting, actually, when is your first day? Monday?
Yeah.
14.
Yeah, so Colton's first day as our new building grounds and parks maintenance supervisor is Monday.
Congrats.
Congrats.
Time to get that paycheck before.
And just another announcement, if any of you have had the pleasure of getting to know Austin over his 28 years here, he has a farewell retirement party at 11:30 on Friday. Cam, you went around and got all the decorations and treats for that party yesterday. And that's going to be at the community room at the Sports Center. So you're all invited as Parks Commissioners. Come say thank you and farewell to Austin, who's been the lead for that team for over 20 years now.
That's this Friday.
Yeah, yep. Yeah.
So that will conclude the general public comment portion of the meeting. Just for the record, Tyler Wagner has arrived. And We will now proceed with approval of the minutes from the commission's last meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting on November 12th.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Minutes?
I,
Aye. Okay, motion passes. And now we will move on to the meat and potatoes, City Beach RV Park Workshop Planning and Preparation.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm gonna pass out some hard copies of the kind of overview of Saturday's workshop. I only made 4 copies, so you might have to share.
Do you need one?
And I've got it on the screen and I'll put it up on the screen as well. I'm really hoping for feedback on this. It's not set in stone yet. My wife gave me some input on it. I obviously used a little help from AI with the actual structuring and format of it. But I will put it on screen and I'm open to any suggestions you have for how to improve this. We're looking for a 90-minute session. Let me get on the Zoom first. Have you shared, do I have the Zoom link for this meeting? Tammy?
I had to recreate these
planning.
webinars at the very last minute,
Are you able
so
to share the Zoom link with me really quick?
I don't have one because the template didn't have all of that. So I had to get one from Haley for Joel. So I will message her real quick and see if I can get.
Joel with us on Zoom?
Yeah, he just joined.
Okay, cool. Hi, Joel.
Haley to the rescue.
Hey, guys.
In the meantime, since Joel's not in the room with us, I will share it on my screen when I have that ability. But for now, let's just have a look and we'll go through kind of the first shot at how we might structure this workshop. First of all, this is this is actually going to be like the culmination of our community engagement. So the direction that council gave staff on November 5th was to engage the community in, what was the exact word? Host a community workshop with the Avrils to envision alternative uses for the RV park site. Those are the exact words of the motion. I've watched it several times to make sure I got it right. Are we doing the right thing? Are we engaging with the community and the Avrils to envision alternative uses for the RV park site? I think we're doing that. That's what the survey was. I'm sitting in a weird spot where I hear my own echo right back at me. So I'm gonna move a little bit. Yeah. It's really weird when you get your own voice echoing into either ear. So how many of you have had a chance to view the survey or to complete the survey? I'll put the survey questions up on the screen here in a moment. I'm going to withhold sharing the results until they're done. And that survey is going to stay up until Saturday morning. So we'll look at the results of the survey as part of the workshop on Saturday. But let me put those up. Are you able to find a Zoom link for me?
I sent
do you feel
another
like you're
message to
getting a good
Haley.
general?
Not as high as the parking survey,
Oh.
but we've had around 260 so far.
Okay,
And about half of those are city residents, half are not,
okay.
either county or other city residents. So pretty good. I do want to show you the survey. If we can get on Zoom here. Tammy?
I don't have one yet.
Okay.
I'm still working on it.
Well, we'll come back to the survey questions. Let's look at the overview for the shop structure. So we're going to meet at 9:30. I'd be thrilled if you guys could be there. Who's able to be there Saturday for 90 minutes? Yes? Yes? All right. That's great. I think 5. I'd like to have more if we can get the other commissioners here. The plan is for each of you to be at one table. We'll have 8 or 10 tables set out. I forget if we have 8 or 10 tables there. You'll be at a table and and we're going to fill your table out with participants. Hopefully, if we have 50 participants, you'd have 10 people each. We could circle around the tables. Part of this workshop structure involves you facilitating discussions in an activity at the table. Okay, so let's look at the workshop. We have another commissioner just joined us. Josh, are you going to be able to support our workshop on Saturday morning at 9:30?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got 6. That's great. Okay. You
Do
guys
you
have
have any feel for what turnout might be? I mean, whether it's gonna be 10 or.
seemed like, I mean, you see Facebook posts are like, everybody go to the workshop, make your opinions known or whatever. But you know, it's Saturday morning.
Probably less than 260.
Yeah, less than two. Yeah, that's the point. The value of the survey is we can reach more than just.
Not a powder day.
I'd
Yeah.
appreciate, well, yeah, exactly. Might not even be any skiing by Saturday. They're going now, the warm temps. So could be, I guess, 30 to 50.
What's
is what I
occupancy of that room?
Seated
Just
like
a
64 or
Crazy
something.
chance we, you know.
Yeah,
there's fine.
during the last public meeting we had there, we had over 100, but we opened the door and people were able to like spill out. We won't be
Yeah.
doing it this week. So.
Then we'll hear that pickleball ping, 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 you know.
Yeah, that, I think we'll have the microphone set up so we can, oh, I just got the link. Thank you,
Okay,
Campy.
you bet.
Okay, let's get it now. Okay, we'll be sharing my screen here so Joel and Josh can see what we're looking at. On Zoom.
I might have missed it, Jason. Did you tell them where on the website to find the survey?
I'm gonna share it on my screen here. All right, let's share the screen. Okay, Joel, Josh. You guys can see my screen now. So let's go.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Awesome.
Oh, there it is. Okay. So the survey, as you've seen, most of you have seen, starts with the questions. This actually proved to be a pretty good way of determining which of our respondents are city residents. I used the exact same question at the start of the parking survey earlier this year. People tend to be more honest if you give them exact answers to choose from, not just do you live in the city of Sandpoint. Half the people of Bonner County tend to think they do live in Sandpoint, even if they don't. So I'm not going to keep this response just to get us to the next questions. So we had the background on the property, on the how we got here, evaluating future uses of the RV park, site, the $950,000 Idaho Department of Parks and Rec grant, the Averill's request in October, which came to council in November to consider alternative uses. The purpose of the survey is to conduct a broad community engagement effort, et cetera, et cetera. And then we got into some more financial considerations around the funding. Why were we going to do an RV park renovation here? We had the opportunity for this $1 million grant from the state. It's a proven revenue generator. Over the last 4 years, we've averaged $80,000 of net revenues at the RV park. There's no guarantee of funding for alternatives, but the direction from council was to explore alternative uses of the RV park. The possibility, I indicated that there's possibility that the hotel might support alternative implementation of alternatives and replace funding that might be lost if we were to pursue alternatives. One question I kept seeing come up on social media and elsewhere was, why doesn't the city move the boat launch this year? The feasibility of that, when we did just a quote last year for some dredging and it came in at $2.7 million, I did put a number in here, likely exceed $10 million. That's just obviously ballpark, but the size of and the cost of relocating boat launches to this location requires completely rebuilding our marina as well. So I wanted to give that kind of context as well. Another thing that came up just in preparation of this is the idea that more parking might benefit park goers. There's some subjectivity to that question as well, because more parking will mean more park attendees, whether that's more vehicle parking, more boat parking. You're going to ultimately free up more vehicle spaces. And currently the parking management plan does call for paid parking at City Beach. So will this be free parking, paid parking? I think everybody who's been following the conversation knows we're offering $15 passes for pretty much unlimited parking for Sandpoint residents, but the parking is envisioned to be paid for non-pass holders. So I wanted to get those facts out there as well. Then some instructions. This was it started out as a very simple, like kind of black or white question, right? Do you want an RV park here or do you want parking here? But really, that was not the direction I was given from council. The direction was not go determine whether the community prefers more parking or an RV park. The direction was go help the community envision alternative uses for this site. So that's why we came up with this survey that included lots of different alternative uses. So not just a renovated RV park, but also additional paid parking for boat or trailers, boat trailers or vehicles, outdoor community event space, food truck court with seating, multi-use open lawn, green space with playground or natural play area, multi-sport courts, basketball, volleyball, futsal, skate and bicycle skills park, stacked indoor year-round boat storage. This is a specific suggestion from Councilman Dick. He's really excited about the idea of something like they have down in Coeur d'Alene with their kind of boat stacked parking with forklifts that drop your boat in the water for you. And I had to put it there. You know, there's no reason there couldn't be an ice rink on this location if there were community support funding for it. So an ice rink that could be used for some other recreation purpose in the summer. Notice that it's not just a rank, but it's score each of these options across these two criteria: feasibility and desirability. So once you've completed that, you can move on to the next, and then we've got two other criteria. In this case, public recreation value versus economic benefit. So we were asked to rank the same 9 options against 2 other criteria. And the final one was year-round versus peak season benefit. So some of these, obviously, an ice rink scored really well on this one. It is scoring really well on this one because it provides more year-round benefit. So that was kind of the idea here. And what we're going to end up with is these cool 2x2 or 4x4 matrices, where you've probably seen these before. You're going to see bubbles on the chart. Some bubbles be in the upper right-hand quadrant. Those are going to be ones that scored really well on both criteria or on all the criteria. Others are going to be down in the lower left-hand quadrant. Those are the ones that are less desirable, less feasible, less economic benefit, less public recreation value, less peak season, and less year-round benefit. So that's the structure of the survey. Again, it's still open. I'm keeping results private until the Saturday morning event when we'll kind of kick off our conversation with those results. So let's go look at the current draft of the workshop that we're hosting Saturday morning. And again, please give me feedback on this. Okay. You can totally change this. I printed out just yesterday, I actually printed out the materials we're going to need for the table activities. So we can unroll those in a moment and see how that might look. And then you guys can kind of tell me if there's things you think we can improve on. So the purpose of the workshop: engage community members in structured, reflective, and design-oriented workshop to help the city explore future uses of the RV park site by examining the underlying dilemma, asking truthful questions or thoughtful questions, and collaboratively generating conceptual ideas. This is not something I'm going to hand out to everybody. This is for us. Internal planning includes sort of a script as well. So this format ensures deep listening, thoughtful inquiry, equitable participation, deliberate transition and understanding, analysis, concept development, transparency through table share-outs. All right. Everything you expect in a public meeting in Sandpoint. Okay, so here's the focus question. I'm going to pause here and let you reflect on this and tell me if you have any suggestions on the focus question. How can the city responsibly and creatively shape the future use of the RV park site to best serve community needs, enhance the waterfront, and reflect long-term community values?
Sounds good.
Thoughts on that? Any way we can improve that? Is it too much?
Is there a reason the focus question is not just verbatim from the council's initial edict? Like, this is much more, thorough and has, why not? From what you stated earlier.
Well, what I stated earlier was kind of a directive. That would probably be the purpose of the workshop, to envision alternative uses for the RV park site.
I see.
Like, that direction wasn't given in the form of a question, so we could think about how can we form that direction as a question, and that's kind of what this was trying to do.
I see.
Yeah, create a guiding question for the workshop. But I do think that could be possibly just, I'm going to just highlight some notes here. Host a community shop with the Averils to envision alternative uses for the RV park site. these are just notes for me to put in. Are there any thoughts on the focus question? My wife thought it was a little bit too meaty, too much here. Could you simplify it? Are there ways we could simplify this? Oh, I see the only one I've run this by so far.
You have the 4 criteria for the, looking at the matrix, looking at the question,
Right.
right? Economic benefit. So it's a way of weaving
Yeah,
that.
so that was feasibility and desirability. Yeah.
I mean, those are somewhat subjective too, but I mean, maybe less subjective than community.
That's a good point, Dan, to
Line it more with.
align it more with the survey. Yeah.
Was the RV park considered the waterfront? I know we say enhanced water.
The RV park property is
Because it
on the water.
extends
It's a
to,
completely underutilized section of the waterfront right now. And whatever we do there, I think the part of my vision, and I assume this body's vision, is to improve the waterfront experience at that location. Because right now, no offense to the parks maintenance guys, but it's kind of used to store mulch and equipment and materials and scrap lumber and things like that. We can do a lot better, right? That's public waterfront. We have so little public waterfront in the city. So some of the preliminary concepts we were exploring with the RV park renovation was to include a gazebo there, possibly a non-motorized boat launch, picnic shelter, barbecue pits. Let's get people down there and activate that space.
The marina, and then, like you said, storage. Yeah, we have a bunch of precast bunks, setups, or
Yeah, we store material down there.
the milfoil that comes out, we put it there. So always just having
Yeah.
one ton.
yeah, and closer to the docks on the grassy area there, I've noticed in the past, there's some, little briar things, thistle and
Yeah,
whatnot. And
so that's
it's
none of
not
that is
something you wanna, like,
irrigated.
Walk on and.
We would have to
in the,
do the irrigation, cut out some of the asphalt, because eventually there was a stop and waste put in. But it's just, it goes nowhere. It's broken
Yeah.
in the asphalt there, so it's turned off. But it's set up to where it could be irrigated at some.
So we don't irrigate the grass.
No.
To get pretty brown. So
That's not feasible.
oh, yeah. Especially if we're tearing out the gravel pads at the RV park to put in a new RV park.
It's all gonna have to be
Some
Yeah,
of
great
it.
time to do it.
Yeah.
You already got all that.
Okay, any other thoughts on the focus question? Anyone? Otherwise, we can
Not,
move on.
not
to
at the
something.
moment. Think on it.
Nothing's jumping.
Yeah.
So here's kind of the idea for the 90 minutes. Welcome and presentation. I plan on giving just a little presentation on the background, including some of the information that was provided in the survey. I learned a lot about this property in my preparation for that November 5th meeting, going back to 1960, actually going back to 1922, when the city was conveyed the property from the railway and the covenant was placed on it. That's why 100 years ago, the railway said, here, you can have this property, but it can only ever be used for public recreation. 1965, because I'm just kind of rehearsing my introduction here, the city, there was it an amendment or an addendum or something added to that covenant that confirmed that an RV park met the definition of a public park use. So you might say, well, it's a commercial RV park. How does that fulfill the covenant? They went to BNSF in 1965, the city did, to get clarification that an RV park could be operated there and not violate that public park covenant. So the RV park, as far as I can tell, has existed since the mid-60s. Was operated by the Cox family until 2019. Well, not just the Cox family, but the predecessors of the Cox family and the Cox family from the 80s until 2019, 2021, actually, when the land swap took place. And that's when the city assumed operation of it. So we've operated for 4 seasons It's brought in $100,000 a year on average, 80,000 net. We spent around $20,000 on operation and maintenance of the RV park in the 4 years we've operated it. Great. So just some of that background, the story of the RV park grant, council's approval of that grant, the RFP where we went out and got some design firms submit for that project, and then the request from the Admirals in October to reconsider the path of the RV park. So that's kind of how we got there. Okay, let's look at the clarifying questions. So this is an interesting protocol my wife uses in some of her community development work. This is where members of the table groups can ask yes or no questions. These are not detailed probing questions. These are, can you clarify, does the covenant allow an RV park? Can you clarify, would the covenant allow a private concession to operate there or something like that? Can you clarify, how much money the RV park has made over the last 5 years? So just very simple yes or no questions, probing, clarifying questions there. The next part is
Hold on.
Yep,
Jason,
go on.
Who's answering these? Yes.
I intend to answer the yes or no questions. These are going to be simple ones that are just
So we're
factual
just
based.
sitting at tables, but these are questions to the greater.
Yes, they'll be asked to the whole
Okay.
group. When we get to the probing questions, you're going to come into your first table group activity where your table group's going to be together and say, well, what are the other kind of deeper questions that we have about this project? So here let's look. So probing questions is the next step. This is basically the introduction. We now shift to probing questions that deepen and expand thinking. These are not suggestions in disguise. They challenge assumptions and eliminate complexities. So you're going to now turn to your table groups. So you guys will help facilitate these. You're going to go around on your table group and say, okay, what are the deeper questions that we have? Then we'll open it up to the whole group again, and each table group will share 2 or 3 of their probing questions that we can explore as a whole group. Okay? And some of these can be around community values, for example, the comprehensive plan, the parks master plan. What are some deeper questions that we have that aren't just factual yes or no questions? Okay, that's going to be your first task as a facilitator of a table group, is to keep that 2 to 3 minute discussion around what are our 8 or 10 participants' deeper questions about this challenge, this dilemma. Okay, and I don't know if I'll have all the answers to those. They might just be discussion questions for the group as well. Okay. After the probing questions, we'll refocus on the focus question at the underline everything, and then we're going to get into our first table group discussion. So this is where you guys are again going to facilitate a discussion, and this is for you to. We're about 20-30 minutes into the presentation now, into the workshop. I'm going to take a back seat. I'll probably float around the room like I did when I was a teacher, and I've had students in table groups, and you guys are going to be the facilitators of these kind of guiding questions or prompts for the table discussions. What did we hear? What have we learned? What didn't we hear that might matter? What assumptions seem to be operating? What questions does this raise for us? What might we do or try if we were facing a similar dilemma? How to best use our own property, for example. So your guys' role here is to make sure everybody has a chance to be heard. Okay. We'll print out these questions for you as well, and you can also let the conversation go where it may. So this is just for everybody to have a voice at those table groups. We're going to transition from discussion into a design activity. There's going to be a table share out later on, but we're going to have a brief transition where we all come back together, and rather than opening it up for a whole group discussion, I'm just going to introduce the concept sketching part of the workshop. So that's where these posters come in. Okay. I printed out 8 or 9 of these. I'll open one for you. You can see, hi, Pam. How are you? Good. We're kind of rehearsing our Saturday workshop protocol. So for those on Zoom, what we have on the table here is a gigantic 36-inch by like 48-inch printout of the City Beach RV site. It's from our GIS map. It's just basically a blank white map with the City Beach property outlined in yellow.
Do you have a scale? It's engineering.
Oh, gee, the engineers need to. I could probably add one, but I might leave that to you, Dan. So we've got the highway over here. We've got the marinas over here. This is actually the parking lot. It says Bridge Street, but that's a City Beach parking lot. And the yellow rectangle in the middle is the RV park site. So rather than you marking up these posters, we're gonna have tracing paper. Engineers and architects love this stuff. So we'll cut out a big sheet of the tracing paper, we'll lay it over the map, and you can do 2, 3 versions of what might appear there. So if your table has like a favorite 2 or 3 concepts from the survey, for example, you may say, okay, well, what if we did do a skating rink here? Where might it go? Where could we put parking for the skating rink? Where could we put a deck area or a concession of some sort, a check-in area, a skate rental area? Where could we put the Zamboni? If the decision is, if your table's preferred use of this location is a green space, where could we put a gazebo? Where can we put a little stage for concerts? If it's a food truck court, food truck court, where might we put the power, the hookups for the food trucks? Where might we put picnic tables, things like that? So 2 or 3 concepts. You're gonna have about 20 minutes to just roll out some of that tracing paper. We'll have markers, and you can just start sketching up. You can trace the outline of the RV park and do a very, preliminary kind of concept for what that space might look like. If your table unanimously agrees an RV park is located there, give us some ideas to work with, because we might be going into RV park design in a few weeks. So what are some concepts we could take to our engineering firm and say, oh, here's what the community said they'd like. Maybe they want some tent camping over here as well. So this is your chance to kind of facilitate, lead, envision, and draw on tracing paper what we might actually do on that site. Any thoughts or comments on this?
We limited to just the RV park property or also adjacent city?
I would say any integration with the parking lot could be included in your sketch here. That's why I zoomed out a little bit and didn't just zoom in directly in that spot. And honestly, like if we do the RV park here, there's going to be integration with the parking lot. There's going to be additional improvements to the parking lot. Could have traffic flow. Yeah, ingress, egress. We might have, RVers might access it from the parking lot as opposed to the current setup where it's really congested trying to get in and out. Yeah, so yeah, feel free to incorporate. What we're not doing is we're not like, oh, how can we improve the green space at City Beach? Or how can we improve the swimming experience at City Beach? We're not envisioning the whole City Beach. We want to keep it focused generally around the RV park site.
I'm
Okay,
just curious, has
Yeah.
anyone reached out to the railroad to see if they have comment?
no, well, I can tell you that we've been in talks with the railroad over other things in town, and it's about a 6-month period between emails and responses. Their level of interest in what we're doing here is pretty low.
I was just curious.
Yeah, because they,
They had.
they probably have 30,000
Other
miles of tracks. Yeah. And of course, if there were any decision made by council that altered the use from the public park use, we would not be able to proceed at all until we had approval from the railroad.
Just as was done back in the
Yes,
sixties, right?
exactly.
To make sure that a
We
new
know,
vision.
we know an RV park is permitted there. Anything other than an RV park that's not obviously public park related, we'd have to seek approval from the railroad.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think we're going anywhere that isn't public park related though. Like there's no desire to violate the covenant, right? Like the covenant it protects us from other potential commercial uses there. It takes it off the table.
A food truck area that might be,
That might be one. There's a commercial component to that. So is that a public amenity? Is it a support park? Purposes, we would definitely need to seek approval for a food truck. That's definitely leaning towards more commercial use.
Same would be true of a boat lift garage.
Possibly.
obviously.
Yeah, because that's more private. Because now
It
you're,
might depend on who's operating it, right? Like, does the city
yeah,
operate that, or is that a contracted?
it's operating.
Tammy's gonna retire.
Yeah, I did a little research on Coeur d'Alene's boat garage when that suggestion was made by Councilor Dick. And they have 360 indoor boat slips at the Hagedon Marina. It's not publicly operated, it's privately operated by Hagedon. And they charge based on the foot length of your boat. It's what was it? It came out to for annual boat storage there, which includes summer. So the idea there is that is your slip. When you need your boat, you show up, and included in your rent is a forklift operator who goes in and pulls your boat off the shelf and drops it in the water for you. Came out to about $5,600 per boat times 360 boats. So their gross revenues there are around $2.5 to $3 million a year just from that one facility, which is a ton of money. But to think about the cost of it as well, like building that facility.
You gotta pay someone to operate that forklift.
Yeah.
AI's not quite there yet.
Yeah. Yeah, their operation comes with access to a private clubhouse as well. They have like a yacht club,
The
like,
caliber of watercraft they're dealing with there, I suspect is.
yeah, the amount of
next
money
level,
in
too.
Coogan
Yeah.
County is
I don't
kind of
think-
next level too.
Well, we see some pretty amazing like stand crafts and stuff like.
Yeah, we get some nice boats. I don't imagine the typical Sandpoint boat owner wanting to spend $5,600 a year for indoor boat storage though. So it's in the survey. It was requested by a council member. It's there for discussion. Okay, following the 20 minutes of sketching, we're going to go into a brief reflection. So this is where, let's see, is this me? We'll pause now so I can reflect on what no, I think this is for, oh no, so I don't know if we'll do this part or not. This seems a little weird that I would, reflect on what I heard from your table groups. I think we'll probably skip 7 and go straight into the table share outs. So this is where either you can assign somebody from your table or 2 people from your table, maybe one to hold the concept up. We'll probably tape them to the walls. I think that's what we usually do in the situation. No, Cammy?
No tape
on the walls.
We just
Okay.
had this problem.
We will not tape them to the
We
wall.
will not tape anything to the
I will
wall.
follow the facility rules at the James E. Russell Sports Center. No tape on the walls. We do not want to damage that awesome mural.
Correct.
So we can hold them up perhaps, and each table can share out 1 or 2 of the concepts that they explored. And that brings us almost to the end. So the conclusion of the workshop will just be kind of a debrief on reflecting on the process, talking about next steps. What are the next steps? Of course, we're going to take the results of the survey, the results of the community workshop, and bring them to council early next year and seek direction from council for how to proceed. So that's kind of what we're looking at. And I'm open to any comments or feedback. If you guys think this can be improved, if you think your roles can be changed in any way or improved, please let me know.
Question
Yes, Ted.
about our roles. So generally when I've facilitated groups in the past, it's more, I'm neutral to it all. But I also feel like, what if I have a really good idea for something? Like, can I introduce that to the group? And
That's a
what,
good question. I'm open to your guys' thoughts on that. Should we as facilitators and parks commissioners, or you as facilitators and parks commissioners, remain completely neutral and just facilitate, or are you participants? That's a good question. I don't give you an answer. That's kind of up to you guys.
Citizens too,
Yeah.
right,
but
I think there's a balance between like dictating or guiding the whole thing versus.
Right.
That's the dichotomy there. Dictating is one thing, and like this, what do you think about this, everybody, versus like asking everybody's opinions and listening and then offering ideas. I don't think that's.
It'll be really hard not to share your opinions, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's no rule against it.
Sometimes offering a counterpoint to his idea.
yeah. And
What I would
that's
urge
part
you
of
though is
facilitating discussion too.
what I would urge is that as the facilitator, you don't have a louder or stronger voice than anybody else at the table.
Right.
So make sure everybody has a chance to be heard.
Yeah.
And then you get an equal voice. But don't just control or steer the conversation towards whatever. Any other questions, thoughts, comments, suggestions?
Question. I think some folks are coming with the perception that they can have a conversation with Avril and what their dreams and hopes are and that the city does. And is there going to be a chance for that? I don't see the opportunity here to listen to them more. And I'm just guessing there's going to be some folks wanting to have a conversation with them and
It's a good question. Do we want to add an hour to our workshop?
well,
No, I
Yeah.
totally hear you.
well, and I think if you zoom out from his question to kind of think about that from a planning, like that was kind of central to the whole, that's really what council said, is that the public and Avril together are going to.
can
They're
I
not- they're
motion
not-
that we ask Ben that
Yeah,
question?
I'm totally.
Can we ask Ben
Weigh in
what
on that.
he's thinking?
My perspective is believe that during this opening part where we're asking these questions, there will probably be
Jason, that you probably got.
Yeah, that's the point.
So I think that there's gonna be that opportunity, and especially if there's a reaction that there that you want to pre-stage. So, you know, why did Apple's be a part of this or whatever it might be? I think that during that question and answer questions, and that we'll hopefully have an opportunity to weigh in on those questions.
What about having you guys, just a little role in the beginning when Jason's doing an introduction, background? You guys have your own little speech or something you want to offer at that time as opposed to just responding, or?
You to do whatever. We definitely do not want to take a position that we are like eating or direct. We are a participant, happy to participate in any way.
And maybe just stating that might
I
help.
think
you
that
know?
that's important to recognize that this is a community. This is stage one, right? There'll be plenty of back and forth between the Aprils and council. But I think, at least my understanding is the intent is to have this workshop kind of to figure out what the community wants. And so, yeah, I agree, Ben. I think we just want to be careful about just making sure that we don't get derailed from the main purpose.
Well, yeah, my only concern is that we also happened on November 5th. I mean, the community came out with great emotion and passion, and we heard 2 hours of public comment.
That could well happen again, though.
That's why I'd like to keep it kind of focused on the directive from council, which is to do a visioning exercise here, right? This is not another chance for a public to come out and give their 3 minutes of opinion on development and growth and change, right? We have a specific objective here. It was also, this is the first time Ben's seen this. This is the first time Averils have seen this, or I didn't run the survey by them. I didn't run the activity by them. This is entirely developed in-house. And that's intentional as well, based on some of the direction from council, which is that this was not supposed to be an Averil project. Staff was directed to do this community outreach. So that's important for the community to know and for you all to know as well. So I like Ben's suggestion that if there are probing questions that the Averils that are directed towards the Averils, that the Averils might be able to answer, by all means, they should answer them. Just like if there are questions that I don't know the answer to that other people in the room do. Like, it's more of a community conversation rather than a two-way, question and answer.
Is this going to be recorded and either made available synchronously or later?
It's been noticed as a public meeting. I just noticed today, actually. That's required if more than 3 council members are going to be there, which we're not even sure if more than 3 council members are going to be there. So we have the ability to record it. So I think we probably will. I just checked the other day. There is actually OWL equipment in the community room there. So we can set it up like we did for the May 28th meeting over the James E. Russell operations.
And was that
with a little help from Cammie and maybe Haley, we can probably get all that set up.
And was that
The meeting was recorded.
But was that recorded only for later viewing or recorded and were people allowed to watch and participate synchronously?
I believe it was live over Zoom as well.
Okay.
I think we have that ability there with the OWL. So, but we'll see.
Might make the small group breakout a little challenging.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody leading the Zoom group.
Yeah. And just to give you kind of an idea of our approach here, the reason we went away from kind of the either or survey format, either a parking lot or RV park, that's not, first of all, that's not what we were told to do. It wasn't to go determine whether the community favors parking or an RV park here. It was alternative use of the RV park site. Also, some of these things on the survey, if they emerged as the preferred use or from the workshop here, there's no guarantee the Averils will be willing to support that financially. So that's also not what we were directed to do, was go figure out what the Averils are willing to pay for, or even if there's a community desire to have the Averils. That's why one of the questions on the survey was, do you prefer we move forward with the RV park without support from the Averils, move forward with an alternative with support from the Averils, or move forward with an alternative without support from the Averils? That's another option. Community may just say, look, we don't want an RV park here, but we also don't want financial support from an outside developer. In that case, okay, we'll look for other funding sources. It's not the end of the world if we have to budget carefully and write new grants. So that might be the outcome here as well. But the idea was, let's figure out what the community's desired use for this location is, rather than saying, what do we think, the Averils may be willing to pay for? What do we have money for from the state? What is the community's preferred use for the site? And then we'll go figure out how to make it happen.
And Ben, you guys are happy, just mostly listening here and then engaging just with the Q&A type scenario?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was gonna be one of my questions to you guys. Do you want myself and Brian to participate in a table group or just be on the side, ready to answer questions? And again, we're happy to participate in whatever moves you guys want. Do you guys want us to stay outside the table groups, or do you want?
What do you guys think?
I think the waters will get muddied if they're at part of a table group, because then it really does open the door for that. It kind of puts them in a weird spot too, of like, well,
Yeah, and then
You
there's
know,
not
we-
equitable
we can't
representation at every
say-
table.
you
Yeah.
can't say for sure we'll do this or that or what.
What if they're just kind of floating around the tables? I mean, that's what I plan to do, is kind of go sit at each table for a few minutes, see what the conversation.
Listen.
Yeah, I think the more voices they hear, the better. So
Yeah.
if Brian's only at one group and Dan's at one group, they're only hearing maybe 20% of the voices that are there. So that's what I'd probably suggest, that you guys, or Dan, sorry, Ben, you guys kind of float around. Like that.
The only other suggestion I have is it would be great if we had name tags.
Sure.
Be always
Well,
communication of the only.
Can you look into getting name tags? We probably have some here at City Hall.
We have some.
Very too, yeah. But that'd be a good idea for anybody who wants to put an intake on right there, but at the very least, the Parks Commissioners should just say, Parks Commissioners.
The only
facilitate it.
logistics things that I was thinking about is, do you have a contingency plan if there are more than 49 people there?
Stand around the tables. We can fit like, I think, what's the capacity,
The
like 90 or
capacity
something?
of the room
It's like
is
90 or 100.
posted as 49. Just looked at it today.
That's without, can the doors be opened? You mentioned like you can spill out.
We could, it might be 50 degrees on Saturday. It seems to be the way we're trending right now, so. If it is warm, we could
I
always.
was thinking even internally, isn't there?
Well, you can spill out into the lobby. You could have like one or two groups out in the lobby.
We do it on a pickleball court.
I haven't reserved one. There's definitely gonna be people there playing Saturday morning.
Yeah.
I did think about reserving a court and using our new court covering and setting up tables out there, but I'm like, well, in my opinion, something like this goes a little better if you have more people in a room than if you have like 30 people spread out across the space designed for 300.
Yeah.
I think we'll be better off in a smaller space. I'd be surprised if we had more than 50 people. You never know, right? On one hand, like if it's only the 8 of you guys, what good is that? So but really.
You don't huddle around one table.
be a short.
Yeah. So. Okay, any other comments or thoughts? You guys feeling pretty good about the structure of that? How it's gonna go? Does this drawing activity sound appropriate, achievable? Gotta find a bunch of markers.
Are you gonna draw up with markers then instead of pencils?
I think on the, for the sake of like holding up your posters,
Yeah,
markers are gonna be
better.
better.
And then what's your plan? How are we taking down? Are we writing on tables, paper, or are we writing on, forms? How are we taking down
Oh, for like
participants?
probing questions and things like that. We'll get some pads of paper and pens and stuff for
Okay.
that. Yeah,
Do you wanna have survey questions and answers on paper there? Like not the results, but for anybody who didn't get online and do it, but who would like to express something, so that those could be added into the results later, or?
Right, or kind of piggyback
Like
on
there,
that,
just
maybe
go off.
leave it open.
yeah,
And because there's always a chance people will come in person Saturday, but have
Have
not
not
yet
done it, yeah.
responded and may
and I
want
could do the QR code on the survey slides so that,
maybe present the findings as you, for
Mhm.
what you have on hand at that time, but
Yeah.
there's always a chance more could trickle in, right?
yeah, of course.
Could you check out a laptop from IT and just kind of set it up almost like a public portal that people could go
Make a little
online and
station
just-
where someone can run
Yeah.
over and do it right now. That's a good idea.
Wouldn't it be easier just to have, do the QR code and do it on the phone?
Got it.
Assuming they have a.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to put that barrier at people who aren't used to using QR codes. Josh, you have something to say, bud?
Yeah, I had a quick question regarding the RV park. Just I've heard this question a few times. So I want to be prepared if people ask. If we do move forward with the grant and restructure the RV park and keep it as an RV park, is there a time frame that that it has to remain an RV park? Like, because I know some of these ideas that people are coming up with might cost quite a bit of money, like the boat launch and things. What if we wanted to keep it an RV park in the meantime until we get the funds to do something else with it? Does the grant stipulate how long it has to remain an RV park?
It does.
That's a great.
Yeah. Kyle Shriver asked that question before we accepted the grant as well. And it's the IDPR grant agreement says 25 years.
Oh.
Now, it doesn't say you have to pay back the money if you do anything within 25 years. No, but it says you may be expected to give the money back if if the RV fund gives us $900,000 and 5 years from now, we turn it into a carousel or something, we could be required to give that money back. So that's a risk, or we'd have to get permission to change its use within 25 years. That's really what that means. We'd have to get permission from the Department of Parks and Rec to change its use within 25 years.
That's a great question.
So there's some
So it
commitment.
doesn't preclude it, but it may.
Yeah.
It's not like a land and water conservation fund grant that locks you in perpetuity where that is always going to be a part.
Yeah. Okay, so survey available on a laptop. I'll have the survey on the screen when people come in with the QR code. If people haven't had a chance to complete it, so that they can just get right into it during the introduction. We'll go through the survey responses during the introduction. But we can just say, well, the survey will remain open through, the end of the weekend or something. I don't want it to stay open for a month after this.
Sure.
Because I've got to just put a bow on this, but yeah, it would be nice to get more. I was hoping to get 1,000 responses total. We've only had 260 so far. 1,000 was a little optimistic, but we haven't done quite the pushing out of this one as we did the parking one. For the parking one, we emailed it out to every ratepayer in the city of Sandpoint. Because we have the utility contact information. I haven't done that for this one. I don't know if I really want to. That's kind of intrusive to push it out to people's emails.
Is it just on the city's Facebook page, website?
Yeah.
It's under current news on the main page. as well as the website.
Yeah.
Maybe posting it again on Facebook or something, just as a.
Yeah, I did just yesterday with the Parks and Rec Facebook page, posted to the local forums. I just don't know if the Parks and Rec Facebook page gets much attention because I don't think it just hasn't gotten much engagement, that post. I thought it would drum up another 100 responses or so. It hasn't. So it is a long survey. It's not a super quick one. It requires some focus. Say it takes probably 15 minutes. Not a lot of questions, but just to read everything and get through it, takes a little time. So, okay. If we don't have any other thoughts on this, I feel pretty good about it. I appreciate you guys giving an hour and a half of your time on Saturday morning. I think I'll get some coffee and stuff for people to show up. So,
Can we have a quick recap of the commissioners that are planning to attend?
I think everyone here and then Josh.
Right?
9:30.
Good
Yeah.
thing.
I'll be there.
Yeah, Josh will be there. So we'll have 6 table groups at least.
Eric, I don't know if he mentioned anything. He said he might be able to, so I'll confirm with him and I can let you know by email if he's going to attend.
Great.
Thanks, Josh.
For our Parks and Rec Commission, or will we be revisiting this again after the meeting, or will we just stay within? Yeah.
I think it would be very helpful to kick off the new year with revisiting this. Yeah. So I don't plan to bring this to the first council meeting in January. So we'll have a meeting before we bring this back to council. on the first council meetings, just, you know, oaths of office and all that stuff. This is not the appropriate time to bring in something this significant. So let's plan on putting this on the agenda and at that time, I think it would be appropriate for the commission to make a recommendation to council based on the results of the community engagement. That's what you guys are for. So we'll put that.
We can make that an action item.
Yep.
Next month.
I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it for
that.
that agenda.
Okay.
item.
That was the only item we had on the agenda, but does any commissioners or I guess, do any commissioners have any additional questions? Or anything they want to bring?
Questions about anything else?
Right, not just that.
Yeah, curious about the status of the batting cages.
Yes, and I thank you. And we have public comment in a meeting like that. If you guys have questions about what is being discussed, this is the time to ask them as well. So batting cages, HVAC, things like that. The piers for the batting cage sleeves were just poured 2 weeks ago. That was another expensive contract because that's the kind of work that we have to contract out.
That's Thompson.
Yeah, Thompson did that, and we've got the new batting cage fences. They're not actually fences; they're posts that hold up nets. So it's kind of more like we have a war memorial where you pull the nets up, and those are all procured and they're ready to install in the spring. So the batting, and then we have $7,000 worth of turf. These are going to be turf batting cages, not just gravel. It's going to look amazing when they're up and running. The batting cages will be opened up in the spring. Just to remind you, the Parks Master Plan did call for the relocation of the batting cages slightly to the north, but just as close to all the neighbors' houses. Wasn't moving it into the center of the park. And also the master plans we have, including the Parks Master Plan, are, in some cases 20 to 50-year plans. We implement them when we have resources to do so. So in this case, keeping the batting cages where they were was the only feasible option given our resources.
These are just improving what was already there.
The batting cages have been there since probably the 80s.
JC Russell construction.
Yeah. So the batting cages have been there since 80s or 90s. So they're going to stay where they are. They're going to be.
And those were originally, I believe, donated. There was a donation at least that made those cages possible. So I don't remember the name of it, but there was a name.
Was there?
For the cages, Higgy's Cages. Sandpoint Little League, I think.
Any other questions about?
Do you have any, I'm sorry, do you have any updates about, there was conversation a couple of meetings back about tracking and law enforcement being involved with voice levels and such? Do you have any updates to that?
Yes, thank you for asking. We did kind of open a case, not a case, but police got involved over a couple of weeks, and we're going out several times a week with their decibel meters to actually measure noise levels at the HVAC system. We also left one at the sports center, a decibel meter, so the staff could go back there at different times of day. So we have some pretty good data on actual sound levels, noise levels coming from the HVAC system. And the highest decibel reading that was gathered over about 2 or 3 weeks was 64 decibels at the source, which means if you hold it right up to the fence where the vents are in the HVAC unit, was 64 decibels, and at the property line of the neighbors was 48 decibels. As far as 48 to 50 was the highest we recorded at the property line. So I also wanted to just point out that the code that was referenced in Mr. Strand's letter, we do have language in our code around sound levels, any noise or vibration that may disturb or annoy reasonable persons of normal sensitivity, sound exceeding 60 decibels measured from the complainant's property boundary at a distance of 100 feet is evidence of a violation. I've read that section of our code many times. We do have language in our code around 60 decibels measured from the complainant's property. The section code that is in 5263 is around sound reproduction devices. No person shall use or operate or permit to be used or operated any sound reproduction device to create a noise disturbance with louder volume than is necessary for convenient hearing by the person or persons who are voluntary listeners thereto. This is what amplified music. and a PA system. So we don't actually have anything in our code that limits or regulates the noise coming from regular HVAC equipment or industrial equipment of any sort. We also have a section on construction noise. So construction activities, and that refers to that's where we set up like the, no person shall engage or permit any person to be engaged in construction activities which create noise disturbance to the property limits of the construction site between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6:30 a.m. But this is not really construction activity. Many times during the construction of the sports center, the bicycle skills park, the maintenance of the baseball fields back there, we get neighbor complaints around, early morning. So many times I've had to remind the parks crews, you guys cannot be out there with weed whackers and leaf blowers at 6:15 in the morning. That activity cannot start till 6:30. But when it comes to the ambient noise from the HVAC unit, we don't have any evidence that it's exceeding what a different section of code says is permissible 100 feet from the source. It's been around 48 to 50 decibels. And B, it's not really regulated in our code in any area. So if we really wanted to apply our own standards for sound reproduction devices, aka loudspeakers, PA systems, to the HVAC unit, even then it's not meeting the threshold to elevate to a violation, prima facie evidence of a violation.
According to ChatGPT, 40 decibels is a quiet room, 48 is soft background, 60 is normal conversation. So, I mean, if we're at 48 at the property line, that's soft background noise.
Just for just to again like give some of the feedback we got from the police officer who was kind of looking at this was that the decibel meter in the front of the building was louder than it was in the back of the building because cars driving by on Pine Street. So cars driving by on Pine Street created more noise than the HVAC unit in the back of the building. So those are kind of the facts around what the investigation revealed. I appreciate them sharing their concerns and frustrations, but really like for us to use our city resources to find a solution to this would require direction from the mayor or from council. So if this body wants to make a recommendation that we, allocate resources towards mitigating sound from the HVAC unit, you could put that on the agenda. That's probably why they're coming here, because you could make a recommendation to council that they, put money in the budget for some sort of barrier or, the one idea was why don't you just turn the HVAC unit around? I actually found the specs for that HVAC unit. You can't just turn it around. So there's actually mechanical pieces inside that if you turn it around would not work with the building. Should it have been designed differently? I think it should have been. I do agree. Like it would have made sense to have those vents pointing towards the park, not the neighbors, but I didn't.
And I think the noise that they're hearing, you're gonna get noise bouncing off that building. It's a large building. You can be on the playground side and hear ball or tennis or whatnot. But like he was saying before and you were saying with the noise levels, I downloaded an app, free one on my phone, and I got 47 decibels. Close to
Pretty consistent.
what they got. It was 74 at their property line when the train went by. So the train's louder than the HVAC. I understand we're not gonna be able to make everybody happy. We also have to be able to use the park and people have to be able to recreate and I mean kids are kids, they scream and play and have fun. I mean that's louder than anything. You can hear them above the train. And so it's like we're not hearing complaints about that. Piece of machine.
When Jackie spoke, the first lady who spoke tonight, I think she said something about a January council meeting. Is this being addressed?
I think she's was under the impression that this was going to be for this meeting.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was gonna ask about that
Okay.
too. She mentioned agenda and I wasn't sure on whose agenda she was.
I see.
It might move you to put it on the January agenda. We can invite Lieutenant or Lieutenant Sergeant Ernie. Sorry, Mike. Lieutenant Ernie, I'm sure he's watching. Sergeant Ernie, who kind of led that investigation. So might make sense to have him come in and give kind of his conclusion.
Yeah.
Well, I think Eric recommended that we put it on the agenda. I'm not sure if it was for this meeting or for January, but I remember Eric mentioning it that we should get some kind of resolution. So I think, with those results, yeah, it'd be good to just let them know what the results were and that the city's not planning on doing anything at this time.
You guys agree?
To put it on the agenda.
I agree.
Yeah, I'd like to have
I
it
mean, with the
lower on the
continued-
agenda than our RV park and property. You know what I mean? I think that's the number one thing for January. And if we have time after that, I can see that being a discussion.
Well, they'll get their 3 minutes or whatever they get. The officer will have whatever. Yes,
I'm more talking about the park discussion between
it's
commissioners and all
certainly
that.
more important.
That's a
Taking
high
more
priority. You
time.
might want
I
to
can
put
see that
this,
being-
you might want to put this at the top of the agenda though, just to give them.
Let them come in
Okay.
and out and, it's a 5 minute
Yeah.
effort.
Can we do that, Tammy?
I just-
Do you guys agree?
I agree. I mean, I think with their continued presence at the last few
Yeah.
meetings,
I'd like to address it. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. And,
Just make
and,
them feel heard.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna reach out.
I wanted to see if we can still get Baldfoot on the agenda and if January was still a good month or if we think we'll have time, if I could push it back to February too, if
Yeah, talk to Taylor and we'll discuss what the appropriate next steps are for that.
Is that specifically about the transfer between funds or what specifically about bulk?
well, just to maybe get you guys all up to speed. I know, council's heard about it and heard everything, but maybe just doing a quick explanation of what's going on over there at Baldfoot and then, what can happen in this next year or two and see if we can come up with some kind of plan to help save it if that's what everybody wants to do.
Josh, you're thinking like not on the agenda as an action item, but as a topic for discussion. And
Yeah, discussion item, yeah.
then maybe at a subsequent meeting, we have it as an action item for the commission making their recommendations as to what we would like to see.
Correct.
So, okay. Yeah. Think that sounds great. Let's plan on that at the top of the agenda too, Josh, if you can come ready to provide that update to everybody, that would be great.
Yeah, will do.
Cool.
What does the commission think about, something we talked about maybe a month ago or a couple months ago, about sponsorship or donation opportunities in the park system? And what if the commission actually developed a list, like say, maybe it's backboards for, new basketball hoops for City Beach, or somebody's interested in providing a corporate sponsorship and get a logo on it or something. What if we as a group came up with a list of items that
Art assets that are like prime opportunities for
Yeah,
sponsorship. That'd be awesome.
somebody that somebody could, maybe that resonates with them for whatever reason, their kids are into that, or whatever.
Do we have anything currently, guidelines, rules?
We have a sponsorship policy that was adopted earlier this year
For the whole city?
that opens the door. We actually adopted that when the school district came to us with a request to have a new STCU sponsored scoreboard for baseball put at the Memorial Field Park. And we realized we actually don't have a policy around that would allow that, so we adopted one. But that in the drafting of that policy, we opened the door for similar sponsorships at other parks as well. So it was just a one-off for STCU.
But what if we need benches or bike racks or picnic tables at different places and somebody's willing to, hey, couple $1,000? Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, for sure. It's like that the sponsorship policy was adopted and then just we haven't really had the time or the resources, but if that's something the Parks Commission can help with, that's an awesome project for us to create kind of a catalog of park assets that could be sponsored.
That could be, I mean, even if we just dedicated 10 minutes per meeting, like with just some ideas, brainstorming, different assets or things that we experience in the park.
I think it'd be cool too, if we are gonna go that route, to make the, I envision like some plaques that are consistent throughout,
Mhm.
so that it all ties together through the park system. That's like, hey, this basketball court provided by.
Whether it's an individual family or a
Whoever.
corporate.
Yeah, right. But it's not just like a giant Idaho,
Yeah, yeah.
logo.
Well, I think there are some parameters and I guess I need to.
Yeah, I'm not really sure either. That's just, when I thought about it, I was like, like there's probably a tasteful way to do this that.
You
And
might
I think
also look into the Arts Commission, because they
Yeah.
do, they have a very
The way they do
templated
the-
way of doing it for art recognition in the parks as well.
Cool.
This already exists.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that.
Maybe that's something we could aim for like February. Just do a workshop amongst us. And
Sounds
kick
good.
that off.
Yeah.
That's, I get that.
Well.
By February, these other,
I know.
So that's something for maybe you guys to think about too, Colton, as you're going through the system and this is broken, this isn't working, like.
Mhm.
Where do
You
you
guys
see
can
gaps?
come up with quite a long list, probably better than we could do.
Electrical tanks.
How many pages do you got?
That is a good idea. I know that we do have plaques on like benches that are donated and other things like that already. So I do like the plaque idea of all being uniform, being similar. Yeah, that'd be great.
And then people know what their dollars are getting them and.
Mhm.
Cool.
We don't have to stay all the way till 4. How's everybody
Any
doing?
other questions or any other updates we have on parks projects? Well, you guys heard about the donuts and
Oh, yeah.
Great Northern Field 2 nights ago, yesterday morning. Did we hear about that?
How did they weave their way between the,
So somebody drove into the Parkside Church parking lot, got onto the path that connects the church parking lot to Great Northern, squeezed between the restroom or the outhouse building and the trees, and went in and did a lot of damage to Great Northern Field. And apparently including to the irrigation system. They
Actually,
actually,
we did an estimate and it's makes sense. I mean, one case of those rotors. So. Sense.
so.
any
Research, doing
cameras
their own
at the
investigation.
church and?
There's a camera on private property right where they drove in from the church parking lot, and there's one at the church, so I think the police are looking into it.
We'll be pulling up to the high school anyway.
An officer I talked to said, all we need to do is go to the high school parking lot to see which truck has all the mud all over it. That's probably it. 1:30 in the morning, neighbor called. First thing in the morning, the neighbor called and said she had heard the noise and gone down and seen the headlights, but didn't get it. Too bad.
Yeah, we're gonna have to roll it. I mean, some of the ruts are 16 inches.
It had been raining for 3 days.
Yeah, all the time. It's not that
And
there's
so I
ever a
need to let
good
it
time.
dry out and roll it.
Do we need to add a bollard there or something, a removable bollard to?
It's a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a bad idea in that bike path area.
Yeah, a bollard.
Do a bollard there,
Yeah.
that would help. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how much work's gonna go into it, quite a bit, well, I mean, over 50 hours. Yes, just so that we can get playing on again. Spring, that's a big tournament there, so. It's another big add to the list.
Sports Center continues to do well. We ended the month of November with 463 members and $17,500 of revenue on them, which is quite a bit more than our break-even cost. So we're not that we're going to break even in the next year, but at that pace, we would more than break even. So again, it's not all about the bottom line. What's really important though is that it's been very busy in there. More and more people sign up for guest memberships, which allows them to make a reservation within 24 hours but it's increasingly hard to get a reservation within 24 hours, especially if you want a prime time. So those people are then buying their monthly or annual membership so they can reserve 14 days out, which right now, like you pretty much need to try to reserve a court 2 or 3 days before you want to play. If you want to choose your time, it's more like 4 or 5 days before you want to play. If you want to choose your time, if you're flexible, you can go in there and there's usually 1 or 2 courts open at 1 o'clock, maybe one open at 3. But actually, from 3 to 5 for the last 2 weeks, you've been doing soccer. They've had 2 courts for soccer. It's been going really well. And that program goes into February. So 4 days a week, there's strikers. I think it's open to non-strikers as well. I know my daughter was able to sign up even though she's not a strikers player. So they're doing indoor soccer there 4 days a week, 3 to 5. And the reason we chose 3 to 5 is that was after a few months proving to be kind of our slower time there. So we still have half the facility open for tennis or pickleball, but half of it's open for soccer. It's going pretty well. We're having to clamp down on some rules around coach to player ratios for certain age groups. Some of the younger groups, if you get 7, 8-year-olds in there, they really love to try to climb on the nets, for example. They love to see how hard they can kick a ball against a tennis net, see if they can hit the fans with the ball. Like they're doing all the stuff that you can't have in there, but we're learning, right? So the policy Ryan's working on with the strikers right now is if you have kids younger than 9 in there, you need to have like 1 coach per 5 players or something instead of 1 per 20 players. The older kids have been super respectful and super, lower impact on the facility, but you get 29-year-olds or 8-year-olds in there and they're just challenging each other, see how quickly they can break something. So we're learning and we're balancing I played doubles tennis last night and I heard multiple people complaining about soccer going on there. And I'm like, hey guys, sorry, it's a sports center. It can't just be for exclusive use of one sports group. So there's some pushback and frustration among the tennis and pickleballers now that there's more demand for tennis and pickleball space.
Well, but like Brian pointed out to me too, like that arrangement to have that group in there, the futsal group was made months ago
Yeah.
when the numbers weren't quite as
And we were
amazing.
at like
Yeah, so it was
25%
like-
use.
Right,
Now we're at like
right.
75 to 80%.
So now that may be a prime time for racket sports, but it wasn't maybe 2 or 3 months ago when he was just looking for inventive ways to fill.
We have just hired 2 new front
It's a
desk
good problem
employees.
to have.
Yeah, for sure. It's a great
It's
problem.
a great problem. to have.
Ryan's recently hired 1 new person, and then we just sent an offer letter to Pepper Rickard, the star tennis player, who's going to start working there in January. And having 2 new staff are going to allow us to stay open longer on weekends as well. Because we think after once ski season gets going, the après ski pickleball session is going to become really popular. On Wednesday's meeting next week, we're introducing. I've got 1 more minute. We're introducing the corporate membership option. This is for businesses who want to get their employees members. Ryan worked really hard on creating a really appealing corporate membership option where, these are employees who probably aren't going to go buy a $400 membership themselves, but if you make it appealing for their employer to buy one, this actually came from a request from Schweitzer Mountain Properties. They wanted to buy 2 corporate memberships, which we're going to make available, and that's going to bring in like $3,000 or something to the facility. And then they can use that among like 8 of their employees or something, because he wants to have all of his employees down to play pickleball after work. Let's make that available for them. So these are people who wouldn't otherwise be paying to play there. So corporate membership, that's going to council on Wednesday. And we're going to sell 2 of them immediately because we've already got one business that really wants that. And then we'll start promoting that. Another idea that Ryan's going to implement is kind of an après ski coupon. And I've gotten permission from Schweitzer to put flyers and marketing materials up in the hotel and the ski and ride center up there. And it'll be we don't know the details yet. Ryan's working on it, but something like, show either a lift ticket or your season's pass. You can get $5 off a non-member play session at the sports center between like 2 and 6 p.m. on Saturday. So it's not all the time, but it's the après ski. Come down from the mountain, play pickleball or tennis for a couple hours, and you get $5 off. So we got a lot of ideas. I don't know if you guys saw the new Sandpoint magazine. We got a half-page ad in the Sandpoint magazine. That was our first real marketing spend. It turned out really good, and that gets a lot of eyeballs of people visiting. And we're getting so many people coming from Bonners Ferry, Coeur d'Alene are now coming up to play here. A new tennis and pickleball club just opened in Spokane, and our membership value is so much greater than down there. That's why people are driving like an hour to play here. It's quite appealing. We are a public facility, so we're not expected to be priced like a private facility, but it's going really well. Brian's doing a great job. So Jessica's there all the time. You've got star tennis player in your family, so If you guys haven't had a chance to come in, just come check it out. It's, I've been playing a lot more tennis too, and not skiing yet.
Okay, 4:02 with no further business before the commission. This meeting is now adjourned.
Thanks, Taylor.
Yeah,
Hey,
good work.
thank you guys. Yeah.